everyone, so today we're going to do a video on how to avoid brush strokes. So this is something that can be challenging for anybody who has been doing it for a while or is just getting started, and it's a concern, right? Because we want our pieces to look the most high quality and we don't want brush strokes. So I'm going to give you guys some of my top tips today to help you alleviate those brush strokes. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. So I've talked before about brushes. I've done a video on my brush selections, and that is going to be number one, is the quality of brushes that you choose. And right now I've got in my right hand my Klingon brushes, and in my left hand I've got Wooster and Purdy. So the difference, there's one commonality and there's a difference. The one commonality of all these brushes is they're long bristle brushes, and long bristle brushes are the best for alleviating the brush stroke. You don't want any short bristle brushes. So what does that mean? It means from the tip to the end here, they are all the same length bristle. If you look at some brushes, they'll have short bristles kind of in between. That's going to give you brush strokes. So when you're shopping for your brushes, make sure that you're looking for one full length bristle all the way. So the difference between these are the price point, and in my case, availability. So Klingon brushes, I don't have a local retailer that carries them, so I have to order them online. And so that might be kind of inconvenient for some. And then the price point on these guys is about $30. These you can buy at your local hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, and the price point ranges from $9.99 to $14.99, I think is their most expensive, depending on the size that you're getting. And so that's just going to depend on where you want to spend your money, but I will tell you, you can get good quality at a good price point. I definitely recommend this is the number one. You have to have good quality brushes. So that's the first thing. The second thing I'm going to recommend to you guys is a product called Floetrol. And Floetrol you can buy, again, local hardware store. I know my Lowe's carries it, so that's where I get it. And what this is it's an additive that you're going to put directly into the paint. It allows you to have a longer workability time, and it literally says right on the bottle, eliminates brush strokes. So how can you go wrong, right? It does work. I've been using this for a while, and I love it, and it does work. So that's something, price point about $15, so not a big deal. Now, I will tell you, let's say you're in the middle of a project and you don't have any Floetrol, or you're not conveniently located to a store to go get Floetrol. Well, there's another tip that I just absolutely love because it's free, and who doesn't love free, and that is plain old-fashioned water. I fill up a cup with water, and then what I do is I don't add water directly to my paint because I don't want to compromise the paint and thin it out really. What I want to do is just give myself a little more workability time, same thing that the Floetrol is going to allow. And so what I do is if I've put paint on my piece, I then go in and I dip into my water, I kind of knock off some of the water, and I go directly onto the piece and put my watered down brush, and I'm able to work it a little bit more. So that kind of thins it out, and it allows you to have a little more workability time as well. So that's a great tip because we all love free. So the other thing is, when you're working on a piece, work in sections. You know, don't take on a super large piece of the product and, you know, expect that it's not going to cause brush strokes or balling up of the paint. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you work in a large section, the paint won't really dry, but it does kind of flash and start to set up, so that if you continue to work that area over and over as you're trying to blend your paint, you're going to end up with not only brush strokes, but you're going to ball up that paint. It starts to kind of dry, and I don't know if any of you have ever run into that. I have. And it's no fun because then you have to go back and sand it. You don't have a choice because you're going to have a very rough feel to it because it's going to start to kind of, it's not smooth anymore, and it's just going to start to kind of ball up. So work in sections, small sections. And then the last thing that I think is super helpful, and in the beginning when I first started, I thought, okay, that's weird because I just painted this and I don't really want to put sandpaper to it. But you can. So you can use this super fine 400 Grit Sandpaper is what I use, and this is like, it's a savior. It's awesome. It has made my pieces like butter. So I have put on maybe a first coat before and it dried and there was maybe some brush strokes in it, or maybe there was just some dust particles that flew in and it just doesn't feel as smooth as I wanted. I take a small piece of the sandpaper, a very light hand. You don't need to, sand heavily. You want to use a very light hand, and you're going to knock it down. And I swear to you, if you do that in between your coats, your piece will literally feel like butter. So that is an awesome thing to do. Sand in between coats. If you're noticing that you're still, after using these tips and these products, getting brush strokes, you're still getting some of that in there, use the sandpaper to knock it down. Now the question might be, well, if you're giving me these tips and I'm still having brush strokes, why? And there's kind of one answer left to that, and that is your hand might be too heavy when you're painting. So lighten up, loosen your grip, because I do notice that with a heavy hand comes a lot more problems. So just kind of remind yourself. Some of us don't even know we're doing it, that we're holding the paintbrush so tightly or applying the paint so hard that, in the end, when it dries, it causes an issue. So lighten up. Make sure you check in with your hand and yourself and say, okay, I'm holding that a little too tight. So hopefully that was helpful to you guys today. I just wanted to share with you some of my top tips. I can't talk today. My top tips for avoiding the brush strokes. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them down below and I will reply to you guys. I appreciate you watching. Please subscribe so you can continue to get my videos, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, you guys.